The very first mistake that I made actually cost me a contract, or cost me a contract renewal. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Brandy Morgan and we talk about all things freelance, working remote, and creating the life that you want. If you guys want to be a part of this freelance family, make sure to hit that subscribe button and of course like this video so that I know that you guys like this content. We have another story time video, and these are kind of like little mini stories that I'm going to be sharing with you, mistakes that I've made freelancing so that you guys do not make these same mistakes. If you guys are new or if you're seniors at freelancing, these types of things happen, and I just want to bring them to light and share you guys the actual repercussions that they've cost me and my business. That's also one of the reasons why I started Do School. There's a link in the description if you guys want to check it out. It gives you guys, 10 plus courses all around the different aspects of freelancing, from like starting a business to building a brand to cold outreach to social selling, building proposals, pricings, all those things. There's a link in the description, and all of it is bundled for $49 if you guys are interested in checking it out, or if you have questions about it, feel free to send me a message. But enough plugging my business. Let's go into the first mistake that I've made freelancing. The very first mistake that I made actually cost me a contract, or cost me a contract renewal. And this was a communication error. So when you are a contractor, you are usually, not all the time, but usually you're going to be remote. And so your only way of, grab my hair. The only way of communicating is, written communication or video calls or phone calls or things like that. You're never actually in person with them. That's the type of contracting that I do. I don't ever go into a business. I have when clients have asked me to, or things like that, but this is purely a communication issue that I had with this business. And so this company was completely on the opposite side of me, of the country, and so really the only communication was email and video and phone calls. And so what happened was they hired me to do these three things for their company. And so I was doing them, and then as I started, they found out, oh, you can edit videos, oh, you do design, we need you to create all these custom designs. It was 200 and some custom social design cards for their speakers, and then they're like, oh, can you actually edit all these videos for their speakers too, to give them mini promos, which was on top, which wasn't even in my initial contract with them. And of course I said yes, because they're paying me X amount a month. I have no problem. I enjoy that type of work, and so I was actually excited to be doing it and getting paid to do it. So I said yes. And so that was from the head person, the person in charge. The person that I was normally dealing with was another woman at the company, another girl. And so I pretty much only communicated back and forth with her. I hardly ever communicated with the top person at the company, or the top person in the marketing department. And so what happened was I would continually communicate with her, and the top person was communicating to her, giving her feedback, but it never ever got to me. And what happened was I was doing all this work and creating all these graphics and doing all this sort of stuff, and a part of it was that I wasn't getting credited for the work that I was doing. It was this other person that I was working with was taking some of the credit, or wasn't making it aware that I was the one doing the work, which honestly it didn't bother me. I knew that was happening, and I really didn't care about the credit because it doesn't really matter. I'm there to help them. It ended up mattering because that person didn't know the extent of the work that I was doing. And so when it came for my contract to be renewed, they did not. And they had said, and then one of the things with this communication thing, which was funny because I was communicating with this one girl all the time. I was literally on video chats with her almost daily, going over the stuff that I was doing. So it ended up kind of really upset me because I knew I was doing really good work, but there was this lack of communication. And so the moral of that, or the takeaway from that for you guys, is whenever you are working at a company where there's multiple stakeholders in the project that you're doing, when you send email communications, make sure you reply all, or you CC everybody that piece that you are doing, or the task that you're performing affects. You CC everybody so everybody knows what you're doing. The other thing that I learned to do, and now I do this with my clients, I create itemized list every single month of what I do, and that's what I send on my invoice, which is actually another thing that I'm going to get into next. And so I'll create like a ongoing Google Doc that everybody has access to, so they can see every single week what I've done for them, and like the progression of those projects and tasks. It may take you an extra 30 minutes to do, but in the long run, it kind of like saves your butt because there's no question on what it is that you've been doing for them. Which brings me to my second big mistake, which is time tracking. So I always track my time, even though most of my clients are a retainer, meaning they pay me X amount a month, but I always track my time. And I always make sure it's super itemized and detailed. I use a app called Toggle. Not a free plug for them at all, but I really like it. It's TOGGL. And it's a web app that is it literally just sits on your desktop, and you just click it and you'll type in what you're doing, and there's a drop down for you to put what client you're working with. The reason why this is so important is at the end of every month, you send your clients an invoice, or however you have your payment terms set up, and you need to tell them what you did. So there was one time where I was like, oh, they know what I'm doing, I'm just doing X, Y, and Z. I'll just give them like my basic points of what I did, like the overall projects. Well, it came back like that. I sent it on a Friday. The next Monday, I got on a call with the boss, and he was like, hey, Brandy, like, we got your invoices. Was that really all you did this month? And I'm like, well, like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, I thought you did, X, Y, and Z. I was like, oh, yeah, I did. I just, sort of lumped those all together. And he was like, oh, okay, well, I would really prefer a more itemized list. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, that makes total sense, because he's the one paying me, or the business paying you. They want to know why they're paying you. And so I don't ever want to have that, questioning of what I'm doing again. I'm still working with them. Like, they're a great client, but it made me realize that, yeah, they want a super detailed list on that invoice when they're paying you. Because it also is like, here's a long list of all of the stuff you're doing, and then here's your price. You want to make sure that those things match up, that they're not questioning what they're paying you. Because as a contractor, or, the freelancer, you're the first one to go. You're the first one that they would let go in a situation if they run out of money, or they're trying to tighten up their budget. So you want to make sure that you are completely 100% giving them a reason to keep you on board. And one of the simplest ways is to itemize, like super detailed, itemize your invoices. All right, and so the third and final mistake that I have made as a freelancer and as a business owner was not hiring the right people. So as a contractor who's been doing this for a while now, there's been projects that I have been asked to do, and I've known that I've needed to hire people, hire them as contractors to help me with these projects. And you as a business person or business owner, it'll probably come up sometime if it hasn't already. And I think it's great. But when you are hiring somebody to be underneath you, and they're representing your business, or their work is essentially going to be your work, you need to make sure that you vet them really well. You need to test them. And this is not just if you're doing software development or anything like that. Whether it's marketing or social media or content writing, you need to give them some sort of test that matches up with what your company does, and it's in line and in brand and on voice with what you do. So I've hired a couple people that I think there was like a lack of communication, because it was my first time bringing somebody on. And so making sure that you actually have like an agreement terms of what they're going to do, and they are fully aware of their day-to-day responsibilities, because you're paying them to do X, Y, and Z. You need to make sure that they know exactly what it is that they're supposed to be doing, instead of just assuming that they know. So that mistake was really on me, and not the people that I hired because I didn't take the proper time to come up with a written, like I had a contract with them, but I didn't have a written set of things I needed them to do every single day. And so spend the time up front, create those lists, create a test so you can test them before you hire them to make sure they're a right fit before bringing them on as a contractor for your company. So yeah, those are the three like biggest mistakes, you know, communication, you know, time tracking, invoicing, and then of course, you know, bringing on the right people. And so learn from my mistakes and don't make them again. As a freelancer and contractor, I always say this, over communicate rather than under communicate, because you're probably remote and you're not face to face with these people. And so they need to know what you're doing. They need to know your attitude, that you're wanting the company to win. And so always make sure that you are over communicating, sending those emails, Slack messages, text messages even, so that they know that you're on the team with them. So yeah, those are my mistakes. Once again, if you guys are curious about my school, there's a link in the description. If you have any questions about it, feel free to leave a comment below, of course, to let me know. If you guys like this video, of course, give it a thumbs up to let me know if you want more storytime content like this. And of course, subscribe to my channel below. See you guys later. If you